Welcome, everyone. It's March 27th, 2024, and you are joining the Smart Energy Decisions webinar series. I'm Deborah Channel, Editorial and Research Director at Smart Energy Decisions. This webinar series has been developed to deliver insights and useful information for large electric power users. Today's presentation, brought to us by EnergyCap, is Better Bill Data, using technology to streamline utility bill management. And we're going to feature an expert panel of energy and utility professionals who will explore how the power of technology can lead to better bill management, energy cost savings, and more sustainable operations. And these panelists have leveraged technology and best practices to turn their utility bill management into a seamless, cost-effective operation. So you'll want to hear what they have to share on strategies and real-world applications. But before we get started, as always, we've got some housekeeping details. So please make sure to enable pop-ups within your browser, turn on your system sound so you can hear the streaming presentation. And if you need any technical assistance, press your F5 key or Control-R to refresh the browser. And if that doesn't work, click the help link or submit a question, and we'll respond right away. On your console, you'll also see that you can download today's slides, or you can reach out directly to EnergyCap for a demo or to reach their sales team. There's also a self-guided demo and other information that you can access. And if you want to submit a question for our speakers, you can do that anytime during the presentation. Just type it into the enter the question box, and we'll have time for live Q&A towards the end of the session. If we don't get to your question, the team will follow up with you offline. And you can just check out the navigation bar at the bottom of your screen to see all those widgets. All right, so let's talk for a moment about Smart Energy Decisions. And we are a very mission-driven company, and that mission is to enable positive global change by providing the information, inspiration, and connections that you need to make smart energy decisions, hence the title. And this ongoing webinar series is one of many of the programs and services that we produce, all in fulfillment of that mission. We have our Smart Energy Voices podcast series. We've got exclusive research, our daily news and newsletters, which if you're not receiving, I hope you'll sign up for them on our website. And of course, we have our events. And we are now in the planning stages for our next event, which is the Renewable Energy Forum, set for June 12th to 14th in Aventura, Florida, which is right outside of Miami. We've got a great lineup of educational sessions, one-to-one meetings between energy buyers and suppliers, and one of our newest features, the Energy Hub. And it's a great location for education and networking. So go to smartenergydecisions.com/events for more information. And now let's just get started. We've got a great presentation from EnergyCap, Better Bill Data using technology to streamline utility bill management. And I want to welcome our moderator, Lalit Agarwal, who is Vice President of Energy Management and Sustainability at EnergyCap. Lalit, let's get started.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Appreciate the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, maybe possibly good evening to wherever you're dialing in from, or when you eventually do get to watch this as a recording, whatever time of the day you're watching it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I think over the next 45-50 minutes, we have some really good content that will resonate with a lot of you. While the title of it may be a little mundane and boring, Better Bill Data, bills are boring, but you will see that while it may appear that way, there's so much value that are inherently loaded inside the bills. But I'm not alone today. I have a few partners in crime with me. I have Scott, Andrea, and Jessica. Kat was supposed to be joining us. She is the Director of Utilities and Energy Management at Temple University, but due to some illness, she's not able to join. I'm going to give a quick opportunity to the remaining panel to quickly introduce themselves. So Scott, how about we start with you?
My name is Scott Hansen. I'm here at Black Hill State University. I'm the Facilities Business Manager.
Andrea?
Hi, Andrea Moore, Indiana University, and I'm the manager of our data analytics team here in Utilities and Energy Management.
Jessica?
Hi, I'm Jessie Bro with ProStar Energy Solutions. I head up the utility and sustainability management, managing commercial clients' utility bills.
Thank you very much. And we'll come back to all of you really quickly here in a few minutes. and hopefully you'll be able to give a lot more details about what your uh, role is at your organization. Um, as Deborah mentioned, I'm Lalit Agarwal, VP of Energy and Sustainability at EnergyCap. So some of you are familiar with EnergyCap, and for those who are not, I just want to quickly start with what our mission is. So our mission for our company is to help our clients derive value from energy information. And typically we do that by leveraging technology-based solutions. So anything we can do to get you accurate, accessible, and timely energy information, that is what our mission for existence is. So that's what we do every day. And we do it through a suite of products that we have. So from left to right, we have a carbon accounting solution called Carbon Hub. That's where you can take your data from either utility or non-utility bills even, and convert that into financial grade greenhouse gas accounting. In the middle, we have EnergyCap Utility Management. That's our bread and butter. That's where we do our utility bill management. And on the right, we have smart analytics, where if you have more smart meters on your campus or your operations in your business, you can bring that data in, maybe even at a device level, and you can deep dive into the time series data that you're collecting from there and make meaningful decisions based on that. And then we have the bottom bar there that is capture services. And in fact, today's conversation is going to be driven primarily on that topic. However, that feeds into the rest of our portfolio of solutions. So we'll definitely touch on them. At a very high level, utility bill data is really our key to driving savings. The solutions that we have are used by more than 10,000 energy and sustainability experts in the industry. We process more than $20 billion worth of vendor bills on an annual basis. And we actually have documented in our solution more than $500 million worth of verified annual energy savings. So again, that mission that we have, we take it very seriously, and we have a lot of partners that are seeing those. The customers that we have, they're seeing those results, and the numbers can be staggering, because one of the big things about utility data, utility cost, is that they're only second in most organizations to your personnel cost. So that's at a high level what we have seen. But before we go any further, I'm going to bring Deborah back on the call and see if she can help me find out what you think as our members of the audience. So Deborah, do you want to help me launch the first poll?
I do. Thank you very much. And again, just so we can learn something about who we have here with us today and why you're here, the question is, why do you care about utility bills? So is it to avoid late fees, energy management, carbon tracking, or I don't care? And I hope it's not that you don't care. And I believe this is multiple choice. So take a few moments and click the boxes, tell us the reason that you care about utility bills. And then we'll reveal the answers and see what our audience is thinking. And we'll just take a moment. Again, I don't think anyone would be here if they didn't care. I hope that's true.
But you can select multiple answers if that is the case for you.
And I suspect it will be multiple answers, but we'll give everybody just a few more seconds. I see the answers rolling in. And I think we're good. Let's go to the next slide and see what you all have to say. Oh, thank goodness. Nobody said I don't care. I was worried. But overwhelmingly, about 94% say energy management is the top reason they care about utility bills, followed by carbon tracking and avoiding those late fees. Lalit, does this surprise you, or is this pretty much what you expected?
It is exactly what I expected. I thought, though, I will have somebody who's smart aleck who would say, I don't care, but it was more going to be a tongue-in-cheek response. But this is great. I mean, you all are pretty knowledgeable, I think, the audience we have. And you're recognizing that there is multiple values that you get from utility bills. And one of the interesting things is when we are trying to answer any question, the first challenge we usually have is, where am I going to find the data to analyze that I can help to answer the questions? And guess what? It's actually delivered to our inbox by physical paper or through email or through some kind of online portal, the utility companies are making this data available to us, and you can see that there is multiple values out of that. Perfect. Thanks for helping us with the poll question, Deborah. I'll continue the conversation here. So why do we care about utility bills? You all just help answer that question. But in the end, you're all right. There are more than one reasons why we care about it. We must pay the bills to keep the lights and heat and water, etc. on. We want to make sure that we make those payments in a timely manner so we can avoid paying the late fee, but we also, at the same time, don't want to overpay the utility. I'm pretty sure none of your utilities that all our audience we have on the call, they have ever made mistakes. I'm kidding. They always make mistakes. So we want to make sure that we catch those errors before we actually pay them. And then you all pointed out 93+%, where there is so much valuable information available on our utility bills that can enable us to do more effective energy management, because the same utility bill that's asking you to pay the utility company back in dollars or whatever currency you're using, it also includes consumption, demand, and other kinds of line items that can really be valuable in helping you understand how your facilities, how your organization is consuming that energy that they are selling you. And then you take it to the next level. The same energy information can then be also taken to help you with your carbon reporting if you have those decarbonization goals today, or you're planning on having those decarbonization goals in near future. The problem is that when you look at the utility bills, the devil is in the details. The granularity on the bills that you get is where you can uncover many issues. So is the utility company doing a lot of estimation? What kind of units of measure are they using? We all have meter multipliers. Are they double counting? So the list goes on, because the utility company is giving you a lot of information that you can actually use. Here in this example, when you get this bill, your first question should be, why is the cost and blended unit cost high when the use is low? So that's a question that you can ask yourself once you have that data in front of you. So it allows you to do that. Sorry, Deborah, I moved one more faster. So second poll question for our audience.
Okay, and we're ready for that. And this one is a single answer. We want to know, how are you processing your utility bills into a system? Are you still manually entering? Are you importing bills? Is it a mix of manual and import? Is it energy capture, bill capture, baby? My favorite answer. Or I don't know. And here, I don't know is more of a possible answer than I don't care. But we're hoping you'll know something about this. So take a moment and let us know how you're processing your utility bills. Okay, and I see the numbers are moving. We've got, I see a few people are still answering. We'll give you another 5 seconds. How's that? And the numbers are jumping, so let's another 5 seconds, and we'll.
You're very generous.
I know, but everyone's answering this. The numbers are still growing, so I want to get everybody in here. But I think we are about there. So let's move to the next slide and see how everybody answered. All right, a mix of manual and import, and just about 41% is the top answer. 26% are still doing this manually. About 16% are importing their bills. 14% almost are on board with energy caps, bill capture, and only 3% or so say, I don't know. That manual number, that how low are you hoping that will get? I mean, it's still about a quarter. Are those people going to eventually move to a more technical system?
I hope so. I mean, today's day and age, it's almost a shame that we don't leverage technology to make our lives easier. While manually entering seems like the easiest thing to do, it turns usually into the most expensive, and our panel will probably share some of their experiences today on that particular front. All I see is there is a lot of opportunity for us to improve as an industry and move more towards technological enabled solutions that will allow us to reduce manual labor and then really focus on what we really add value to the process. So instead of entering the data, maybe spend more time analyzing the data and making decisions using that data. So this seems pretty reasonable. I am more looking at the 86.4% of opportunity that we have out there for automating some of these processes. So I'm reading the poll a little reversed. So that's how I'm seeing that opportunities out there. Great, and thank you very much for everybody who took the time to provide your responses, even those that don't know, because maybe that's not part of your day-to-day responsibilities. It's somebody else in some other department that's doing it for you. So really appreciate your engagement and providing some responses back. So moving right along, one of the things that we have noticed is that hand keying of data, this is where we have a lot of issues. So we want to make sure that the mistakes that are happening, they're not just by hand keying the data, but even the utility companies, when they send you those bills, they make mistakes too. They are not perfect by any means. And here's some statistics. I'm not going to read them one at a time, but here's some statistics that we have found in our databases where we have found actionable items of about $166 million, where we were able to allow our customers to cancel the bills before they were sent to accounts payable, so the money never got transferred, and also making sure that their reporting processes were also not impacted by some of these mistakes that typically can creep in. The top 3 types of billing errors that we have seen over the last 40 years, and these don't change. Account ownerships, you would think that's the simplest thing that would be out there, but building changed ownership, but the utility account, they're still billing the old owner and it never got updated to the new owner. The multiplier, the meter multiplier, is just the nature of the beast of how we do measurements of our commodities. The wrong multiplier can make a huge impact on how you're getting billed. And then if you're exempt from taxes or some kind of fees, but because of the accounting system the vendor is using, you may still get charged for it. So these are the top 3 that we have seen in our experience. So enough about me. I know you're tired of hearing my voice, so I'm going to now bring in our panel. And this time I'm going to ask you all to take a little more time, explain what you do, the scope of your work, a little bit about your organization if you can, and go from there. I'm going to reverse the order here. So Jessica, can we start with you?
Sure. So we have a team of about 30 people. We are working to set up commercial clients as a database within energy cap utility management. And then from there, we're auditing, resolving issues with those bills, and then making payment on utility bills we process about 25,000 meters a month. And we have about 12 clients that are active in our kind of bill pay process. So finding it very, very convenient to have a bill capture added to our systems.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Andrea?
Yeah, hi. So I'm with Indiana University, and we are bringing in our utility bills across the state. So at all of our campuses, from our northern border to our southern, we process about 15,000 bills annually with 35 different vendors across the state. I am in utility and energy management, so I'm not in the finance or accounts payable department. So billing itself was not my forte, and not something I thought I wanted my hands mixed into, but as we mentioned earlier, we needed it for our energy information.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. And as I reminded, Kat is unfortunately not able to join us because of some illness. So we'll move on to Scott.
Yeah, I'm here at Black Hills State University here in South Dakota. Ours, we have 2 campuses, so I take care of the utilities and energy management for the campuses. And I love bill capture because it helps me, reduces the man hours I have to put it in. And it just saves me a lot of time. So trust me, it's worth it.
Sounds good. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to pose a question to our panel, and they will take turns answering that question and maybe going as deep as they feel would be valuable to our attendees. And I may interject and maybe do a couple of redirects, but that's where we're going to head next. So the first question, and we'll start with you, Scott. Do you have experience with managing utility bills without a technology-enabled solution? That means like hand keying the information. If yes, what were the challenges that you encountered?
Oh, definitely. It was entering manually is time consuming because it's just, we pay 3 different electric companies. So it's just time consuming trying to enter them by hand. Now, once I learned about bill capture, it just made our electric bills and utility bills go in much easier without the errors, without the flags. So yes, I tell you, I started out with entering everything. Now I got a majority that are bill captured.
Got it. Thank you. Andrea?
Yeah, so I would say without the technology-enabled solution, we were interested in only those that were primary to use at a high level. So we distribute our own electricity on campus, and we distribute our own water that we purchase in mass, here in Bloomington. If you were to ask the question, what did you pay last month in electricity? Someone would get that one account and that one account only, because it just wasn't feasible to grab hundreds of accounts for one campus, let alone across the state. We just didn't have it. So we didn't know who to ask, if they entered it in a spreadsheet somewhere. With bill capture, I have it all here at my desktop all the time. And that it wasn't even on my radar that would be feasible prior to bill capture. It was something, like I said, I only would get the information that was required of a particular job at a particular time. If I need to know what the central heat plant used in natural gas, I went to their account on the vendor's website, and that was it, entered it somewhere. Now I know everybody's natural gas use across the state, down to the building level.
So in a sense, just to rephrase what I think I heard you say, you were actually willing to compromise by saying, I don't have the time to enter this data, so I'm not even going to enter it. And by doing that, you were losing out on the opportunity to have more granular data to be able to be more effective in your energy management. Is that a fair way to say that?
Yeah, I would say that we answered the questions posed of utilities incompletely.
Right.
Because if they wanted to know what did we, use on this campus in natural gas or electricity or water, the answer was shortcutted. You didn't get every account, because how could you?
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just lack of granular data, it was just lack of some of the data.
Right. Finance might know what we paid, because of course they paid every bill, but the payment doesn't track the use. So because I wanted utility and energy management, I'm not from finance. The dollars, they would maybe say, well, just average it out. What's your average unit cost? And you'll kind of know your use. Well, that's not a complete answer. That's not a, accurate answer.
Right.
And now I have use and cost across the state.
Got it. And so before jumping to Jessica here, Scott and Andrea are more responsible for their own usage. So they are representing Black Hills State University and Indiana University. But Jessica, you are actually doing it on behalf of somebody else, and they hired you to do that. So you don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to not have a complete picture, because you have to have the complete picture. So your experience on doing it manually and the challenges you have.
Correct. Yeah, it's part of the value proposition that we're bringing to our clients. So when we first started, several thousand bills a month we were processing manually, and having issues with getting them in timely. So just kind of a backlog of bills that was slowing us down. And then bills were basically being entered into the system about the time that they were due, which didn't allow us process time to analyze, reach out to vendors, try to get things corrected. So that was very problematic. And then of course there's the human element of, you nailed it earlier in your message. Unit of measurement was big. Knowing what that is, making sure it's right. We had issues with logging in distribution and supply and showing that as usage listed once rather than twice. So just the integrity of the data going in, making sure that it was accurate. So that was big for us.
Got it. So not only having the right resources, but right resources who understand the data, not make any errors. But even if you had all of those pieces in place, you were spending so much time bringing the data in that you had barely any time to analyze and process and do any corrections because you had to finish the processing by a certain time also.
Right. And so now we're able to repurpose the team who was doing manual data entry before to now doing those audits and analyzations and helping us be more proactive for our clients.
Right. So it's not just that the system basically made some positions obsolete, it just made those positions do more value added stuff rather than the mundane data entry, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is awesome. So all of you mentioned that you had at one point done this manually. When you were doing this manually, tell me a little bit about the level of detail that you were capturing in your hand keying of data. Were you just keeping your focus on a very high level data when not bothering with the line items that show up on your utility bills, or where you're going through the pain of capturing all that information, but now it's taking exponentially more time?
Yeah,
Any of you can speak.
Sure. We were doing line item detail as best as we could, but I think people are aware. You can get one bill that has 2 line items and it's easy, and then you can get another one that's 40 pages and has line after line and meter after meter. So it is very time consuming.
Right.
Yeah, I would have to say for here at Black and State, we got an electric bill that has like 10 line items that you have to put in, and at first it wasn't very understandable, so you'd miss something, so you wasn't getting real data. So now we get one that has 2 line items. It's like, okay, one has 2, one has 13. It was difficult, and you would miss something.
Right. Andrea, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say the same, in that our bills weren't accessible other than in terms of cost. Right. So now I have, because they just weren't keen in anything like that. They were just paying it through our accounts payable, and none of that was tracked or watched. It wasn't of their interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you all for your insights on that. And you kind of, you all alluded to this feature that Energy Cap offers called bill capture through our capture services, where instead of having to take that piece of paper or the PDF that got provided to you, you basically turn that service over to us and we take care of that for you, where you just provide us the piece of paper. You may even read out your mail and send it to us. You can receive it and email it to us, put it in a secure file transfer. However you get that piece of paper, you're not looking at the data. You're just taking that information, that utility bill, and you're basically giving it to us, or say in some places we even go get it. And just want to give a quick high-level overview of the bill capture service, where the data is the information, either an image or a piece of paper, is received by our team, and we take care of all those kinds of formats that you see on the screen, and we bring that data into Energy Cap Utility Management. That's the solution that we have. And once we have that data, we do all the analysis and create those opportunities for you to do further analysis before the bills are paid. So just wanted to give a very high level view of what the bill capture process is that you have seen in the poll, or you've heard some of our panelists mention earlier before you go into it. All right, so the next question, and Scott, I'm going to come to you first. Did leveraging technology-enabled solution make the process better? Walk me through your experience when you moved from hand keying data to using a technology-enabled solution like bill capture?
I would say it's actually been a great asset to me, because before, when I had to enter the bill, like our water bill, there's 32 accounts. I have to enter every single data on it. It'll take me a good 30, 40 minutes to an hour. And if somebody comes in and stops me, then I forget where I'm at. Then I can start all over, or I have to verify where I'm at. But now, changing from manual entry to bill capture, it actually, I'm just going to use this illustration. This year, January 1st, we had a new bill on our water bill. And I just submitted in, and Energy Cap automatically added that service charge on there. So I would say that would have been something that I wouldn't have caught, but Energy Cap did catch it.
Right. That's great. Andrea?
Yeah, so we've had a couple things that I can speak to that are definitely better that we didn't do in the past, and now we can, because we're importing all these bills through bill capture. So when we're asked to present information, say to our board of trustees, business analytics office asks us a question, right? And he says, we need to update this slide. Depending on who he asked or what he asked, people over the years have answered those things differently. What we've done now is written out a definition for, if this is going to be presented, this is how you pull it out of Energy Cap. You use this report, this account, or this cost center, and really define what we're answering for other business units at the university. Before that, like I said, someone may have just pulled one big campus bill and said, well, that's what we paid, or took it from finance, who was maybe capturing differently based on payment date rather than month of use, things like that. We define things now because we have it all in one central location. We've also used the bill line items to really be able to report what we've saved in a natural gas hedging program. So the university has purchased natural gas, out in the future, years and years. I think we're out to 2040 perhaps now. Anyhow, the point is that I can download 5 years of bill data, get all those line items captured, pivot it in Excel for someone, and say, in the last 5 years, we've bought this much natural gas at market, we've sold back this much natural gas to the market, we had made this amount in hedged purchases. What has the hedging program saved us over 5 years? We've been asked that many years over, and ultimately we say we can't answer that. There's too much information out there. It's too open-ended a question. We'd never be able to gather the data. I did it a couple months ago for my leadership team. And they were very happy with the result. And I was very proud that we had it all here. Without bill capture, we wouldn't have had the information there.
That is just amazing that not only were you able to do it, previously you wouldn't have been able to do it, but you're able to do it quickly, and dare I say, with high level of confidence, because you knew that the data going in is accurate and validated and analyzed. It's great. Jessica.
Yeah, so definitely streamlining our process. It's allowing us to move faster, have more time to analyze. Having the flags has been great for us. I mean, recently we had a bill come in for a client that is usually a couple $1,000s and came in at over $500,000. Obviously, it was a vendor error. We had that account on auto pay. So if the flag didn't alert us to an issue, then that could have been highly problematic for our client to have that bill go through. Meanwhile, we were able to intercept, reach out to the vendor, tell them this is obviously wrong. They were able to stop that billing and reprocess so that it didn't hit our account, which was great. So that's a big one for us. I really do enjoy the feature too of bill capture, putting all of the accounts in the rate schedule that they're with on that vendor. Since we work with a client on locations across the country, It helps us to compare within the same state, okay, same vendor, what are their usages, what are their charges, what's comparable, what's popping as high, and allows us to do some analyzation so that we can make corrections and save our clients money in instances where it looks like they may not be on the best rate schedule.
Right, that is great. And just to clarify for our audience, any bill that enters the Energy Cap data system, we make sure that we analyze the bill to make sure that it aligns with the historical bill data. And we also bring weather in the background, so it discounts any weather-related increases or decreases that you would typically see. So those are the flags that Jessica was speaking about. And in addition to that, she also mentioned the rate schedules, which is also that the same vendor could have multiple rates based on the type of customer you are. And the software solutions that Energy Cap offers takes care of managing that. So it's not just you got charged more, but you got charged more on the same rate schedule that you should not have. So it allows you to do all of that automatically, flag it for you. So instead of looking for the needle in the haystack, so to speak, you're looking for the needle in a specific corner of the haystack, because instead of looking at 25,000, was it you said, Jessica, the number of data entry points every month, you may be looking at 100 or less flags that you probably need to focus on. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So thank you all for sharing your story about how you were able to improve your processes better and using the technology-enabled solution. Any other thoughts before I move on to the next topic? All right, let's move to the next one. So in your words, how would you describe Energy Cap's bill capture services? So this is where I would like you to be elaborate on describing it for, imagine the 120 plus attendees that we have, they have no idea, they've never used it. So in your words, describe that. And if you have a story, an anecdote of a time when bill capture found significant savings, Jessica, you alluded to one, the 3,000 versus 500,000. If you have any other examples, Andrea or Scott, or even you, Jessica, if you have more examples, how this process was useful for you. Andrea, why don't you go first?
Okay. So what bill capture does is it takes any of your utility bills and imports them into Energy Cap in any form they come in. So if you get a postcard from a rinky-dink water company, you can scan it and click upload. Somebody can do that. Bill capture brings that in. You get the little image of it, and it maps what's on that postcard to your screen in Energy Cap. Mapping is powerful, and it's how I get the most confidence in that I can do my job. So if somebody can email me a PDF of an invoice, and this is going to be a brand new service. In fact, we're just setting up within the university a sort of reverse billing where we are using a portion of a new hospital. IU Health built a new hospital. A portion of that hospital is academic space. So we're teaching, nursing students in that space. So as a separate entity, IU Health says IU owes them for the utility use in that square footage. So they took it upon themselves to figure out a way to calculate what we would owe. And they said, we're going to send you an invoice. So this is essentially a brand new vendor. It's a single account. It's just a very unique situation. And they want to say, we're going to invoice you for every commodity you use here: water, electricity, chilled water, natural gas, all in one piece of paper, or one PDF, I should say. So, you know, there's meetings to start up this process, and nobody knows how it's going to all work out. And I could, with confidence, be the voice of reason to say, just get it to me and I will get it in. We will, and so I have a setup batch going with the bill capture team now. I said, this is what my invoice is going to look like. It's going to be all these commodities, but I can create a meter that's going to represent each commodity in energy cap. Let's map that. And they're working on it. Now we're getting our first sample bill in. It's a service that the same thing is true if a utility can send you a CSV file, you know, a flat file of your data that is just in rows and columns to say, you owe this service fee, you owe this usage amount, you owe this tax, which we don't owe, but you know, that's another thing. If they catch it, then we're flagged for it. They can take that data and map it to the energy cap meters and accounts so that you can get the data in through bill capture, however it comes to you.
Got it.
And I would say it's not a great, phenomenal story on savings, but my most common find since using this seems to be running toilets. I swear to you, and all over the state. But I find them here in my little office, all over the state. You know, somebody goes and finds a running fixture because I get a bill and, you know, I see the increase. It's flagged as unusual use, and they say, yeah, well, we just went and the plumbers found a toilet that was running, this, that, and the other. It's fixed. So
that's excellent.
Yeah, that seems to be my.
Hey, it's a very important thing to do is save the water resource that we have.
Right.
Awesome.
Right. But it's funny to me. It just makes me smile sometimes that I'm, you know, hours away from another campus and I can tell them their toilet's running.
That's awesome. Jessica, you want to go next?
Sure. So as far as how I would describe bill capture, it's a game changer for us. It's giving us time back, so where we can focus in on other things and, you know, other ways to add value to our service for our clients. I do have another story since I shared mine earlier. This one is more about just kind of utility management in general through Energy Cap, but by stack ranking, you know, bills for individual locations all together in one place, it really helps you to see the outliers. And we were able to identify for a retail store client of ours that they were actually paying a water bill for the laundromat next door rather than for a shoe store. So there's a significant difference in usage there. So those are the types of things we've been able to identify and help resolve for our clients that have been significant savings for them.
That's great. Scott?
Well, I was the one that said, Jess, I understand what you're talking about when you said the toilet's running. So when I get, if I got a building that has too much water consumption, hey, I tell my plumber, hey, you need to go look at it. But what I like about Energy Cap is that not only do I have to enter in an Energy Cap, I also have to pay the bill. So it saves me time from doing a manual entry and then going manual entry in the bill here on our system in South Dakota. So I would say it helps me when I get that red flag. It lets me know there's an issue with that building or that location. But I do like that because I might not catch it if I don't go there and do the analysis on it. But yeah, I tell you, bill capture has really changed the way I look at Energy Cap.
That's awesome. And I know Kat is not on the call right now, but I ran into her in San Francisco at a conference last month. And she shared this story, so I'm going to conjure a little bit of Kat and me for the next couple of minutes and share the story she shared with me. So when I met with her in February, she mentioned that the vendor that they were working with was upgrading their accounting system. And the team at Temple University was a little concerned that this is going to break all the processes and it's not going to be bringing in the data. So they've been using bill capture. So it's going to break all of that. And Kat's response to that to her own team was, that's exactly why we have a service like bill capture. So we don't have to have anxiety about it. We are outsourcing our anxiety to the Energy Cap team, and they will handle it. And lo and behold, we did. And the team at Energy Cap that manages bill capture, they were able to seamlessly take it in. Now, proactive approach on Kat's part, she informed the team ahead of time, got a couple of sample bills from the vendor, and we were able to adjust and adapt even before the accounting system changed, and we were ready for the change. So just a little bit of partnership that allowed us to have a much more successful story rather than get into a situation where 2 months of data is missing, or billing is delayed, or accounts payable is delayed. So I hope I did justice to what her story was, but just wanted to make sure that we made her presence felt here. So I really appreciate everybody's thoughts and comments on these questions. We do have a few minutes left, so before we jump into question and answer, one thing I would like to go back to what Jessica said. I love the word she used. It's a game changer. So it can be a game changer. It depends on where you are in your processes right now. If you were in ProStar situation where you're processing 25,000 bills a month, and you're spending the first 28 days just entering the data and only 2 days processing, analyzing, and then making your payments, you're not going to be as effective. You're barely keeping up with the volume there. If you had an automated solution, technology-enabled solution, you can then spend your time on things that matter most, meaning that the data is coming in, it's getting analyzed, it's getting flagged, and now you can put your Sherlock Holmes hat on, and you can start doing your analysis, monitoring consumption and cost. If there is a rate schedule that is more effective for a particular customer or for your own self, you can start doing all those other things, including benchmarking, energy efficiency projects, and any other reporting that you may have, because all the data is now in one place. So with that, I will turn this back to Deborah and see if we have garnered any questions. Deborah?
Yes, we certainly have. We've got a lot, and I'm going to get to them in a moment. But I want to thank you, Lalit, and our panel. This was great information. And based on the questions coming in, very helpful to the audience. So let's jump right in. The first one, can this technology assist companies in complying with new California laws, SB 253 and SB 261, regarding sustainability reporting? Lalit, I'll send that one to you.
Yeah, no, that is a great question, and I'm guessing that the person who's asking that question is directly impacted by that. For those that don't know, the new laws that were passed in California back in October last year, they are requiring any company of a certain size, I believe it's $5 billion, don't quote me on that, but a certain size of revenue, you have to now report to the state of California your GHG emissions, scope 1, 2, and scope 3. And if you keep track of the news, SEC finally came out with their final rule on March 6th, and they are limiting their disclosure requirements to scope 1 and 2. Energy Cap has amazing solutions for you, whether you have to comply to SEC law or to the California law, where we have solutions between our utility management and Carbon Hub product, where you can do both. If you're looking at only scope 1 and 2, we even automate the process of taking your utility bill, as the panel talked about, scanning it or bringing it in, however, and our team brings in the data into the database, it automatically gets converted to your carbon data. So it's a very seamless from point A to point B that will allow you a leg up in doing the reporting for California law requirements.
Okay, thanks, Lalit. And let's move on to our next question. This one is, how are you navigating utilities implementing MFA, I assume multi-factor authentication? And Jessica, let's send that one to you.
Yeah, so of course, we're dealing with thousands of vendors across multiple clients. So this is something that we come across often. And so our team is having to kind of work around it. We generally find it's best to send it to a generalized email rather than using a cell phone. That way, if somebody else needs to log in after you, it's still a manual process for us. We haven't automated just yet. So we have a team of people who are logging in kind of around the clock, pulling bills. But yeah, we tend to find if we can get it sent to a generalized email where someone can access, we're able to get in and pull bills. Not sure if it was an EDI related question or not, but we're pulling PDFs and it's working just fine for us so far.
Okay, and our next question, this one I'm going to throw out to everybody. It's how do you involve staff from different departments working from local governments? And I imagine this is a question, not just local government, but this can be any kind of organization. So how are you involving staff from different departments to make this all work smoothly? Who wants to take that?
Yeah, so I can speak to involving staff from across the state of Indiana. So when this was brought on, every campus managed their own utility bills. And like I said, everyone had maybe a person somewhere that knew their logins to their websites and said, well, they just all come to my desk and I enter the information in a spreadsheet. I know what I'm doing. I think it was met with some frustration that our main campus was coming in and sort of taking over. But I am just, it is my goal this year, I've already been to 3 of our regionals, to travel. You have to get out of your office, whether you're going across the state or across a building, or, you know, I do have people just across campus that I have to say, let's get in a room together. Let me get this on the screen. Do you know how to get here in Energy Cap, how to see a bill, what the icons mean? You can still see when you're doing bill capture and you're getting it either through a PDF or a web capture service. So their email service allows a PDF to be emailed and uploaded. Their web capture service, if you're not familiar with bill capture, they log into a vendor's website for you and download the PDF. So you still get a bill image without going to every vendor's website and seeking that out. A lot of people, users, didn't realize we had that for them all in one spot. So that was really my, the tact I used was to take it to them in a teaching format. And how can I help you? Setting up custom dashboards to say what's important to you about your billing across the state. And I could set up dashboards for them, walk them through, here, repeat after me, and you can set up your own. And this is what you're gonna, you know, see from it, was helpful. Because without that, we had our fleet services that really wanted a handle on their own invoices. You know, everyone wants to say, but mine are unique, mine are different, mine are complicated. And we really had to work on gaining people's confidence that we could do complicated with bill capture and with Energy Cap as a whole platform. So our fleet services person now has a dashboard. So we set up an account alert on her accounts so that every time an invoice comes in, she is assigned to that invoice to approve it, specifically her. And then we have an automated report out of Energy Cap that emails to her and says every Friday, this week you have 2 invoices. And she can go to her dashboard, follow the link, approve them, and she knows they're going in. We were double paying constantly because she wouldn't let go of importing her own bills. And ours were still coming through and paying as well. But we got her in there and it's all working great now.
It's an internal education process as well.
Right.
You have to get everybody on board. Anybody else want to take on part of that question?
I'll take on part of it for Black Hill State. You know, we have a sustainability program here at the university. We was one of the first ones to start it, if not the first one. And now other universities are starting with the solar power and putting them in Energy Cap. where it gives you real-time data. So what we moved to in with the sustainability coordinator and our sustainability program with the solar is we get our meters go straight to energy cap. So we get real data at real time. So, and we got a couple schools, SDSU and USD, they're looking at this same program. So basically I'm the guinea pig for them. Me and my sustainability person, we're guinea pigs because we get to mess it up and they get to take all the credit. But that's one thing I like about here in South Dakota. We work as a team, no matter what university you're at. We reach out to each other and ask them for questions. So I really appreciate that. And then the sustainability person, she's taking this program to a new level now. So it's actually an important role for her.
Okay, sounds great. All right, thanks. Let's move on. We have time for a few more questions. Lalit, I've got one going back to you. What are the pros and cons of EDI billing?
Oh, yeah. So bill capture allows you to bring in either a piece of paper or PDF, as we have mentioned, but we can also work with you if your utility vendor has a more advanced way of sharing the data with you. So there are some that are more progressive and they have adopted EDI models. EDI is not a silver bullet by any means. So I don't want to paint that picture, but where it is implemented well, what we can do is we can do more machine-to-machine data exchange that allows us to bring in that data for you much easier into our databases. While there are a lot of advantages, it's a little bit cost-effective and it's a little less less cumbersome to bring the data in. The downside, though, is I think one of our panelists recently mentioned, Andrea mentioned about how if you did bring in a PDF or an image of a bill, that image stays with the record for that bill in Energy Cap system. With EDI, unfortunately, you're just getting that as an electronic information in an XML format, meaning that you will miss out on having a piece of paper attached to it that can be used for auditing purposes or validation purposes. So there is a little bit of a pro and con, but it just depends on the situation. And we have customers that do both.
Okay, and another question for you. Does Energy Cap process utility bills for payment and issue payment?
We do. We didn't used to till recently, but we do support that now.
Okay, and Jessica, I think the next one, well, it's something that was answered within the presentation, but let's repeat it. How do you know that the data captured by Energy Cap is accurate?
So the system itself has quite a few flags that will pop as your bills get entered if anything looks to be off, if there are any type of anomalies. I will say when you're first starting and getting enrolled, you need to look at everything closely. But the system kind of learns from the bills as they come in as well. And you're able to create some manual flags. If there's something in particular you're looking for or something that you want to keep an eye out for, you can do that as well. So just part of our process is to review those flags regularly. And it will tell us if something looks high, if the number of days in the cycle seems to be too long or too short. So, occasionally there are errors. It's not completely infallible, but those flags alert you to them so that you can go in and make a quick manual change, and it isn't really an issue after that.
Okay, good. And Lalit, one last question for you. Can this be imported to Energy Star portfolio fully with demand, KW, and demand cost?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is one of the features that we are very proud of in our utility management solution, where all the data that you have, we can map it to your portfolio manager instance. And if you create new meters, those can automatically actually be created by a push of a button on Energy Cap interface. So they get created for you automatically in Portfolio Manager. And as data comes in, as your bills come in, they can actually get calendarized. So they are, even though your meter may have read from 15th of the month to 14th of the month, we calendarize it so it's on the calendar boundary, which is what Portfolio Manager recommends. And we push it out. We can push it manually or automatically. So you can push a button on a monthly basis that transfers the data to the Portfolio Manager instance, or you can even set it up that as soon as the data comes in and it's validated, it can automatically get pushed. So full integration between Energy Cap and Energy Star Portfolio Manager.
Okay. And we're almost at the top of the hour. I want to end this kind of a shout out. It's not a question, it's a comment that came in. At Sound Transit, we are growing so fast that some of our vendors send the bills to Energy Cap by mistake. And it's amazing to see how bill capture can create kick-out reports to make sure those bills don't get paid. So bravo for that. I think that's a big advantage. So we are out of time. I want to thank our moderator, Lalit Agarwal, and our speakers, Jessica, Andrea, and Scott, for sharing their expertise on the webinar. And thank you to the team at Energy Cap for making it possible. And finally, thanks as always to our attendees. It's great to have you here with us. And we'll see you back here in April for our next webinar. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.